Yeah,
2-1, so...
that's right. He's 2-1 in the last qualifier. He eliminated Epic, and also a 2-1 in the miserable Cup #1 Group Stage B. So there you go. Two recent results the last couple days where Vindicta has gotten the better end. Epic looking for revenge here.
I believe in him. But then again, I actually would not mind either one of these guys. Got to know Vindicta a little more personally with the Aussie land. That happened, true. But I've always been a fan of Epic. Basically, whenever there was a promising Terran, non-Korean Terran in general, I was like, yay!
Yay! Yeah.
Especially for the North America scene. So I like both these guys a whole lot.
Yeah, of course, Masa's another one of those guys as well. Even though his name literally is Maru, you're like, well, technically he's not Korean. He's Canadian. Right?
Well, now he's actually, I think, actually citizen of Canada, like last year. So,
yeah. All right.
That boy is such a history that only gets complicated because something like Nation Wars didn't let him play for Canada. Like otherwise, people have always identified him as Canadian.
Just imagine if your team was like Masa, Scarlet, and No Regret. That's a strong team for Canada.
Yep, it would have been. But anyways, we're into a best of 3, starting off an Eternal Empire in the top right. For Alpha X, it is the Red Terran Vindicta.
Certainly is. And in the bottom left here, recently getting the 2-1 victory over Jon Snowy's teammate from Psystorm Gaming, it is Epic. And he's going for the double gas opener, with Vindicta going for the single gas fast expand.
Going for a 2-Rax Scout first, and then sending his SCV across the map. That's a little dangerous. I mean, technically a 2-Rax could have been here or all the way up here, but honestly, he did check the most common locations. So, I still think scouting. Yeah, it just feels a little weird because if you scout directly, you get almost the same intel. I guess we've had a couple of different ways of 2-Raxing, haven't we? Like proxying one barracks and having one at home. So. He's got some very thorough scouting, is the TLDR. And he just saw the supply depot come down, which means the double gas. So.
Yep. That's right. Now, I've seen the 2-Rax in base as well. The time TvT, I guess, is what I would call that, unless I see time do it more than anyone else.
Very true. That happens quite commonly, just ways to get a head start in the early game without actually committing super hard. I mean, we've seen it actual committed proxy 2-Rax. It's still going to macro games. Well, happens a lot when you don't proxy everything. But Vindicta is going to get ahead on the economic game. He's going to play it very safe from here, knowing his opponent's going to have the edge. Basically, he's going to have either more units or faster units out in the field. Vindicta actually going to hold off on building a reactor on his barracks to get 2 Marines, so some decent DPS to put into that bunker. Let's see what he does with his factory. He did actually see the command center, didn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the question mark, maybe full 1-1-1. Nope, command center does come down.
Yep, which means he's pulled out of gas. And we have the move out here from Epic. Now, Vindicta, when you go for the 1 gas expand, you usually do want that bunker. Normally in TvT you can go without, but you're going to have less units until your reactors are done and your factory's up. So he's going to have to give the map to Epic at this point.
Epic, by the way, with literally 0 scouting so far, which is not uncommon when you go for the factory expand and not something that has CV out, but eventually the Reapers, if they can't bust the bunker, they will try and hop up into the main base where exactly Vindicta has the rest of his units, so that might not work out as well as he's hoping for. He knows it. And unfortunately, that's a lot of not scouting. He's going to push the issue. Yes, he is.
Really?
Yes,
wow.
he is.
Wow. Yeah, got a good bit of damage here with the Reapers. Good control from Epic as well. Hasn't lost any Reapers yet. And the Hellions diving into the naturals. Some SCV's about to go down here.
This is very awkward. I mean, the Hellions on the low ground for Epic actually getting a shot up definitely helped him bust that high ground. But 3 Reapers being able to throw those grenades and just the crowd control that happened there is always obnoxious. It's always the power of the Reapers. It looks like this last one is going to escape, but with the Reapers in the main and the Hellions in the natural, 4 SCVs and a chunk of lost mining time. And a full scout for Epic kind of feels like a great start for him. Certainly enough to make up for his later command center.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just looking at the workers killed, 6 SCVs isn't a ton, but he also killed, a Reaper, a Hellion, that kind of thing, denied some mining time. So all in all, I would say definitely better for Epic. He's rallying another unit across the map just to grab that watchtower by the looks of things, and is going into the regular Raven follow-up.
he's got faster starport and factory production. So already has a tank, already has a Raven. Moving on to the second one. We'll see if Vindicta does the same thing, 2 Ravens. Still certainly a common way of opening. We still even have 3 Ravens, despite the changes to the Raven so long ago. I don't think he's one of that. Already prepared to swap it off, so it is actually just a single Raven into a 3rd command center. I mean, not really a whole lot of 2-base attacks exist much in TvT. Good scan from Vindicta to confirm
very good scan.
opponent also going for 3rd CC.
Yeah, and at this point, that is going to be the 2nd Raven for Epic, as you would expect with Vindicta, because he knows his opponent went for the 2 gas openings, so that's the 2nd Raven, and he's going for a 3rd. Wow, this is a little old school.
Yeah, I just said it's not too common, but it does happen. It's happening for Epic, so that's a lot of auto turrets. Basically, it's kind of been agreed upon. You watch the professionals and you copy the professionals. They're all throwing on auto turrets. There are still scenarios where interference matrix are better, but it actually just looks like an auto turret's the way to go. There's multiple reasons for that, but TLDR, busting tank lines with those 3 Ravens in the early game gets a lot nicer. It's kind of up to Vindicta to actually get ahead of the push if and when it happens. You know, get on top of it with the Vikings and on top of the tanks pushing forward and then unsieging, retreating type deal. They both are macroing into bio beyond that.
I quite like that Epic, or rather Vindicta, just got like 2 Vikings and then pulled back, knowing that his opponent, if he was going to push at this point, will only have the Ravens because of how much starport time was dedicated to the Raven production. So it's like, oh, I only need 2 Vikings here, and then I'm going to go into, more bio production, which I like. So it's a good call. But you can see that both players are pretty passive, and he's got the patrolling Viking there as well, because, when you have many Ravens on the map, Raven harassment is definitely a thing, again, in TvT. So don't want those auto turrets on those mineral lines.
Yeah, it is. It's like, to me, it's still such a dangerous thing to do, even when we have a surplus of Ravens.
Yeah, it's 200 gas a unit.
Yes, they're very expensive. They're slow building. They require that tech lab. They really interrupt what the rest of the build could have been. And to, lose them is just, well, that would be a disaster. Speaking of, runs into a Cyclone. A little bit of a mistake there from Epic, but good for Vindicta. As I said, kind of getting ahead of the push is one of the key factors in holding this. Scouting it, reacting to it, getting ahead of it. I mean, if you got some of these Vikings on Epic's Ravens, forcing the auto turret preemptively, that would also be really nice. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, though.
Yeah, he's pulled these Vikings back from this patrol path, which I think is important as well, because he knows he wants to win that air battle. There are 2 Vikings with these 3 Ravens, though, for Epic. And he's already forced to lift on that 3rd base, which is a great start to this push for Epic. That means he's mining from a 3rd, and his opponent is not.
By the way, Epic just looking a little bit stronger on, the upgrades here with 1-1. His combat shields is going to be later than his opponent, but that only really matters if Vindicta has a strong Marine count, which he's getting to. His barracks were faster, but he's not quite there yet. And in fact, he's going to pick up units in 2 medevacs and go. Now, that is a severe delay in his command center, and actually he's going to take this 3rd base. This is a very dangerous thing to do.
It's dangerous, but I kind of like it. This is one of those big gambles that I think is going to pay off for Vindicta. That 3rd is extremely naked. 1 tank? This does not a defense make, ZombieGrub.
Yeah, I mean, I just talked about how his barracks, Vindicta's barracks are faster. Epic just doesn't have a lot to rally in here. A couple Vikings would have helped. A 2nd tank would have helped. Just knowing this could possibly happen would have helped, but not many people do it this way. The massacre of the tank is a good effort, but just 2 strong Stim Marines may actually even skedaddle without losing too much. Nicely done, but Epic's actually moving towards the established 3rd base. And
Vindicta intercepting.
Oh, he's not. Oh, he didn't siege. He didn't siege. The interference matrix are good. The Vikings will take out Vindicta's last Raven, but oh, that was not as good as it looked.
Yeah, I mean, with all this Raven energy, you would think that he would have that extra support ability, the support ability to actually just win a fight like that, but he got caught with his pants down a little. And these Marines are getting more and more SCVs. Vindicta gamble is working for his favor. This is so much damage.
Yeah, it's really too bad. Epic, if he had been all sieged up, well protected, ready to throw it on auto turrets, yeah, he could actually hold this very obnoxious choke, but yeah, he was not prepared to do so. And now he has to readjust the way he was maybe thinking of playing this game now that he knows his opponent has the other 3rd. It's a very weird thing to have happen. But if your opponent has that lead and they're going to be able to push and defend their base, you should be a little worried. Epic at the very least still has that upgrade lead. Immediately to 2-2 and 1, whereas Vindicta missing a little bit of that gas. He's actually not mining efficiently here. It's going to be late to that.
He actually has enough Ravens to interference matrix all 6 of these tanks here, but does he do that? It's pretty much just tanks defending that third base. Looks like he wants to come around a different angle. Sensor tower, good coverage here for Vindicta. No sensor towers for Epic. So this counter drop looks like it's going to do a fair bit of damage again.
Some defending units, but yeah, this actually could do a lot, or at least screw up Epic from actually doing this push. It goes into the main base, so there's actually nothing there.
Yeah,
the armory could be targeted down. That won't stop 2-2, but at least he'll take one upgrade away and he'll have to replace that. Epic may try and drop into the main base, but there's too many tanks here for Vindicta.
Yeah, Vindicta seems very ready for that play, and he's even got a Liberator, which I love here, and he's just going to play whack-a-mole, jumping between the main and the third, the main and the third. Getting more and more SCV kills against Epic. His siege tank's still getting some work at the main base of Vindicta, but Vindicta being very patient, and he's making some very cool decisions here, taking a bit of an advantage in the army supply as well. Epic is going to have 2-2 a fair bit earlier, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's considerable, because now we're talking about full barracks production, so, like, the Marine count really is usually the most important thing to talk about.
An eye for an eye.
Yeah, some revenge going down. Both going to have to replace those armories, but Epic didn't actually lose his. He saved it. So yeah, he just straight up gets the benefit there. Does lose the drop, but he's also got a faster fourth base, so I don't think Vindicta's really anticipating. Things still looking better. Like, I feel like the numbers actually favor Vindicta, but I don't know why. I just feel like a little bit like Epic's playing, and maybe the more standard TvT a little bit better, where Vindicta's just kind of getting these nice risky plays. And eventually that might bite him in the butts, which in this case might be all about those upgrades.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, if you play risky and it works, that's great. But if you keep playing risky and you're never, oh my god, these siege tanks, what a lovely catch from Vindicta. Got a little bit lucky there. Very lucky, in fact. Another tank moves back into Marine fire.
Yeah, that was weird. Wait, whoa, Epic, what is happening?
I mean, if those 5 tanks didn't tell you there was an army there, I don't know what will.
Yeah, right? I guess he was distracted by the drop, so just kind of... I actually don't know. Didn't realize he had his entire army hotkeyed maybe and was still moving across the map. That was very odd. And now that planetary is going to be under some severe fire. 10 SCVs have gone down in total with the help of that Liberator. It is cleaned up pretty quickly, but that planetary, I don't think that Epic can save it. He lost so many important units.
Yeah, I mean, for all these SCVs repair that planetary, that's still so much firepower from these tanks. But the tanks are paying attention to that planetary, though. The Marine's getting on top of it.
Wow. Well, I take that back. He actually cleaned it up so flippin' easily.
Yeah.
I mean, the interference matrix was great, but yeah, the tanks, it's that tricky thing. They always target that planetary. You gotta retarget them.
That's actually something I learned from a coaching session with Pig, like, this year. I didn't even know that until, like, this year. The planetary... oh, my God. Forget what I had to say. Forget my games. Vindicta has this massive concave of Marines. Oh, what an engagement.
God, this is actually a slugfest, man. But Epic, having lost all of his tanks and then losing another fight, I think is actually pushing too far down. Yeah, he has the faster fourth, but he now has to make up for 30 supply. I mean, maybe he can. He actually cleans up a drop here that didn't do very much at all. And his tank count, I mean, it's actually higher than I anticipated after he lost so many in the middle. So I'm still giving him a chance. But, you know, we went from maybe 10 supply down to now 30 army supply down specifically. It's just that Vindicta still doesn't have that forward. There it goes now. Is he going to have another terrible fight? So many more Marines that Vindicta can actually choose how to take fights, get the concave. And yeah, Epic doesn't have anything really going for him. No choke, tank siege very, very late. Vindicta's just taking the better army fights.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's come down to. What's really wonderful about this game and this series potentially is that both players have been so, like, even with big blows on both sides, both players have been extremely even until the last couple minutes, where Vindicta got a really good catch in the middle map on a few tanks, and since then has had the lead and has not thrown it away. This is a big, big, big lead for Vindicta. You might be looking at the bottom going, oh, well, you know, Epic's got more workers. Maybe, no, he just doesn't have the army at the moment to fight, and he also hasn't been showing us. You know, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in him winning the next few battles just because Vindicta keeps winning every single fight they've been in.
Yeah. And Epic no longer has any upgrade lead. I mean, he's actually fallen about 20 seconds behind on a 3-3. Not that he had the Marine count to really utilize that. He's actually entirely hoping to defend with tank positioning. It's the last defense of TvT, which is a pretty good defense. There's a reason TvT has a lot of comebacks, because tanks hold up in correct positions, will buy a lot of time, and once you're back to max versus max... that been canceled. Yeah, once you're back to max versus max, it's anyone's game.
You're quite right, yeah. But will Epic get to max? It doesn't look likely at the moment. That Liberator parked right on top of that planetary, getting 11 SCVs. And that push at the third base is still advancing for Vindicta. Epic's kind of, it seems like he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. He's got an army through the middle of the map. He's like, these sensor towers, I can't really get anywhere without Vindicta knowing about it. And there is a picked off sensor tower at the third base, but yeah, it just looks very awkward for Epic. Is bringing in the Liberators. There aren't any Vikings for either player, so Liberators are still very important.
Actually, I'm surprised Vindicta... Yeah, I guess it actually makes sense for him to try and take the fight, but there's just so many more reinforcements. They're faster. Everything kind of clotted in. And he realized, okay, maybe I shouldn't have taken that fight. Maybe I should just let things go once the Liberators got sieged up. It was also just maybe 15, 20 seconds before his 3-3 was done, so... Nicely timed there from Epic. Very strong decision-making to go instantly into those Liberators to help him out. He has managed to stabilize, but still down 20, 30 army supply. Vindicta has taken a bit of a chill pill, and now it's Epic trying to move across the map. This Liberator will scout that movement a little bit, then this Marine. I think Vindicta has time to reposition, and that's a planetary defending too, so it's not like you can just rush in and bop it.
And another drop of the main base here from Vindicta. Finally gets the job done on that armory. And with Epic's counterattack, he's actually pretty all in. This counterattack from Epic needs to do incredible damage.
Ooh, he's got the Liberator, but I don't know if he has
Marines.
the numbers. That's so many Marines with the Concave. Actually going to retreat the number of tanks from Epic, but a drop into the third base is not being cleaned up that quickly. As you said, Epic's just really all in with this push. He's either got to take some good engagements, if it's a little bit sloppy, or he's got to kill the actual planetary.
Yeah, he needs to do some pretty critical damage here to even things up. Make no mistake, Vindicta is on the precipice of getting a 1-0 lead in the series. Been a wonderful game one so far. Let's see if Epic can do it. I just don't believe in it at the moment, just because this just single Viking with 3 more on the way is actually ruining everything for Epic. It's ruining everything.
Any attempt to actually get some better trades with Liberators coming out is actually now just gone. Vindicta has made an additional starport, so he's making his own Liberator Viking army. That's the way to really end a TvT if you're struggling against the tank problem. If you dominate the skies, that is the best composition, as long as you're not caught out of position, which Vindicta hasn't really been. It's been him catching Epic out of position.
Well, he's trying to make a 4th base get up for him here. The one at the north, or rather their 5th. This is the one at the north is starting to get a little bit exposed. The 3rd base is very mined out, natural as well. So at this point in the game, it is almost 20 minutes in. You need to have 5th and 6th bases here at this point in the game. Thanks, Legacy of the Void. And yeah, I mean, Epic's just trying to find an angle. Vindicta continues to intercept thanks to the sensor towers.
You know, I mean, as much as it is important that Vindicta didn't lose any more momentum to Viking Liberator, he has slowed down. That is a downside of transferring over into the starports, is you do get a bit of a slower army. Now it's Epic's turn to maybe be the guy who catches opponent out of position, who pressures his opponent, and that will give him some comeback potential here. He's maybe going to get maxed out, and maybe get some center towers up, really start protecting all of his bases. This is very, very annoying. Liberator range isn't done, but that's something that the Vindicta can also afford.
Oh my god. Like, yes, choose your death, SCVs. Which Liberator do you want to die to? They don't really have a choice. Either way, they are going to go to death. And oh no, more exposed tanks! Vindicta always catching these tanks. He's just done such an amazing job. He's killed 18 tanks of Epic in this game.
It's really a reoccurring problem, man. If he had saved half of the tanks in this engagement, or this game rather, I would actually maybe be giving him the game. But he's losing all of his tanks. He's losing the control of his 5th base as well as all his SCVs. This seems to be the final battle, and it is GG.
What a great game one. It was unfortunate. It felt like we were watching a slow death animation of Epic for the past few minutes, but until that point, it was quite close. But yeah. Epic had been on the back foot and not being able to... it's just like the Jon Snow series again. I love that Epic has that fighting spirit. Not to be confused with the Brood War map. Just that he has the will of the fight, the eye of the tiger, rising up to the challenge of his rivals. But, yeah. I always have so much faith at this level. You know, when you're at 6k plus MMR, for there to be few mistakes from your opponent. So Vindicta's just like, no, I have the lead, and I'm covering all my bases literally and figuratively. You will not be able to get this counterattack, my friend.
It really felt like as soon as I was like, it feels like Vindicta's being riskier, but Epic's playing the good standard game. It felt like an exact moment. That's when the tanks were found, and he started just taking terrible TvT fights. I really felt like a caster cursed Epic right there. From then on out, he just kept losing tanks and being caught out of position, which is, one of the first rules of surviving a TvT. Don't get caught out of position. But sorry about that, Epic. Maybe you can bring it back. I mean, the recent matches have been 2-1s. Like, we are evenly matched, but towards the last, 50% of that game, actually Vindicta looked like the better TvTer.
Our some guy called Legend is already in game 2 saying, "So Epic, are you going to lose 3 times to Vindicta?" I'm like, do you say that to a player when you're going into the middle of a series?
No, even if you
yeah,
don't.
probably not. Hopefully they're close. But anyway, going to Everdream here, one of the last season maps for the other players. Let's get into it. See how it looks.
In the bottom left, up 1, he is the Red Terran, Vindicta.
Yes. Incredibly cool player. Very fun guy. And the top right here, this is Epic from Sidestorm Gaming, who I unfortunately don't know personally. Haven't spent any time with him in person, unfortunately. Maybe one day, when the COVID goes away, when we're all vaccinated, we can get back to work.
Yeah, that would be really nice. I mean, usually if we go to an event, we're working the event, and the first day is the busiest day, and that's where these guys usually are actually still playing. By the time we get to day 2 and can walk around a little bit more, it's down to Scarlet, Special, and Ebe representing North America. So
PNAs and very occasionally M-canning. But yeah, there's that actually is something that I regret from the last I Am Katowice, just because I didn't expect there to be a pandemic, is that I wish I got to spend a bit more time with the players, because I didn't think I wouldn't be seeing them for a whole year. I thought I'd see them next time,
Yeah.
I Am Katowice, we were just so busy, and there were a few moments where I'm like, I could use my break to leave the green room and go see some of the players and say good day and talk to them a little bit, which I normally do. But at I Am Katowice, I was just not really feeling it. It's like, I just want to take it easy and conserve energy. It's a long cast, 6-day event. Yeah. Ragrets, ZG. Ragrets. Yeah, Ragrets.
I kind of regret it too. I mean, I felt like such a newbie because it was my first IEM. It actually wasn't Wardy's first IEM, despite what people say.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's his first IEM World Final, but he had done Shanghai actually with me in 2017.
Yep. So I didn't feel like super comfortable going around, but they for a while they made us do those interviews, right? Which I actually didn't like. I got a pretty good interview that I think actually I did pretty well in, but it was the only time I went down into the quote-unquote player pits.
Yeah, the player pit. And then we had that big room where a lot of the players hung out, that couch area with the food and stuff. That's generally where I speak to players. I don't really go down the player pit, but I do basically just go and say hello to them on my way to getting food, usually. I got to see a few players. I got to see Probe. I usually always say good day to you Thermal, give them a hug. Like some of my favorite players that I usually see at events and talk to, but there's a bunch of players that I've spoken to in Twitch chat recently where I've just been like, I wish I had spent time with you at I Am Katowice. And they're like, I don't feel bad. I'm like, I kind of do. Anyway. So the TvT is rounding out here. A pretty regular build for both players. Double gas 1-1-1 expanding. Bit later of a natural for Vindicta. That's about it.
Well, Epic's going for a full 1-1-1. It's a little bit out of the norm.
It is true. Not playing out of gas.
Yeah, and he's actually doing a very brutal build. It's actually really dirty here. Hellion Reaper Medivac. It is a bustable combination where usually this, as time goes on, gets less and less as an actual fighting force, right? When you do this, it can bust, it can maneuver, it can drop, it can micro. It's actually really obnoxious to deal with. Vindicta is maybe slowly recognizing what's going on here, but he actually did not see the command center not being there. He did not see the starport, so he actually might not know. He handles it.
The plus side for Vindicta is that he is going to have a Cyclone and is about to have a Viking, 2 of which are very important to have defensively here. He might have to pull some SCVs. He is going to take damage. The question here is how much.
This kind of sometimes depends on if the Cyclone gets the lock on the correct units. The Medivac is one of the high priority targets. Viking's certainly going to help as well. It's actually going to be able to scout this. Maybe kind of, nope. Oh, just a little bit shy of it. As Epic waits for 2 more Reapers, then he's going to move in. There is nothing to protect the medevac. It will eventually go down. A pseudo wall made temporarily with the units, but the grenades happen here for Epic. Bop them out of the way. Pop the Cyclone pretty damn quickly. Now gonna grab some SCVs.
Yeah, and that tank's just may move here. Obviously, the tank can trade really well against this army, but there's just so damn much of it. A lot of SCVs are going down. I like the Leonard Viking as well from Vindicta. Trying to make lemonade with these lemons. He's lost 6 SCVs, and obviously that is an advantage for Epic, but considering how Lady's natural is, Vindicta is going to recover, I feel, in a minute or so.
He already has an orbital, as well as the ability to make 2 SCVs at a time. Although he's a little bit low on the minerals. He didn't only lose 6 SCVs. He pulled them out, so he just really didn't have a lot of a bank there. So, but yeah, he'll be able to recover, I think, from an 8 worker deficit well enough. But I do think that is enough of a deficit for Epic to feel good about that opener, as long as he doesn't take any return damage. As Vindicta is actually going to go towards not just 1 medevac, but 2. He's doing a double drop into the main base.
Wow.
Which I would say usually I don't really like. I don't think it's that great early on, just because a SCV with whatever units you have seems to do the trick. But, you know, Epic just gave away a lot of his army. He has, just simply put, not a lot of units, and he's not going to anticipate this, I think. So not in position either.
Yeah, this is about to get weird. If the Vikings and Raven were in position, like like you mentioned, being out of position here makes or breaks a drop like this. Is he going straight for the natural?
Oh wow! Oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Well, now Epic is in position.
Yeah, that's where everything is. Unfortunately, Vindicta already taking a few shots there on those tanks. Epic does still have his air units, so he's going to cycle around to the high ground here. He's got another round of Vikings that pop out as well. Loses the depot, but that does not supply block him. I think Vindicta's push, or counter push here, is about to get shut down, but he's still finding a fair bit of damage on that starport. It's getting a little bit low. Scary, scary,
Just one
scary.
Marine. Yeah, Epic, please.
That starport's gonna die. Oh.
Lift, cancel lift. Oh, Jesus.
That was milliseconds away from dying, man. Those 2 tank volleys would have absolutely killed that starport.
Yeah, I mean, he's not gonna lose the reactor either if he pulls the SCVs to repair, but like that was was uncomfortably close. And he could have easily killed that Marine, I think, earlier, but, oh well, now he's taking care of Vindicta's push and actually feels strong enough here to chase after it. Vikings landing on top of the tanks are going to grab probably both eventually. Vindicta is going to hold up on his natural with 2 more tanks, but not a lot of Vikings, not yet anyways. 1 very weak medevac, and Epic still has a very, like, high energy Raven to make something work.
Yeah. And that's a big deal, because he also has the Viking advantage, so he could force back these 2 Vikings of Vindicta and just get on top of those tanks if he wanted to. But, I mean, you got to be careful here. Doesn't want to throw everything away. He just took a pretty good fight. Goes for the auto turrets. He's going to try and A-move it down.
Very nicely done. The tank's going to waste that first shot on the auto turrets for sure. And even if they're retargeted, they rarely get that second shot. Auto turrets, high priority, high damage, and enough there for Epic to win the game.
Vindicta said GG Re, and I think he might get his wish here as we're going into game 3.
Nice. Starting off with that brutal cheese, I really feel like if you learn that build in, like, you know, your pleb leagues, anything below professional, you actually get like a stupid amount of free wins.
Oh yeah. Thankfully, we are in pleb league, so well. I keep having this thing where I talk about my league as pleb league, and then everyone that I speak to in, like, not even just my Twitch chat where everyone's a little bit biased towards me, but even other Twitch chats, just like, stop complaining, Maynarde. You are so much higher than most of us. Like, oh, I guess. Doesn't feel like it.
But it is true. Diamond's top 25?
I know, it's just so hard to process. Yeah, it's so hard to process. It doesn't feel like it.
I'm with you. That's why I always try and say just, like, not professional when I say pleb league, because whenever I, like, specify a league, you know, if you're below masters, oh, is something wrong with being below masters? No, I just, okay, well, anyways. Just safer to say if you're not a pro.
Yeah. I'm going to keep saying pleb league. You can't stop me.
All right. Well, I won't stop you, Maynard.
Thank you, ZG.
Chat's sometimes silly anyways.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't care what they think.
Who cares what they think? It's people that pay me every month.
Oh, well, my chat's cool, but I'm talking like, you know,
Yeah,
WCS, IEM, EPT chats.
Oh, God, no. You know, at that point, they're not even people anymore.
Yeah, I agree. They're one just, like, amalgamation of
Yeah, they're
trolls.
a collective hive mind of dickheads. It's like there's a dickhead overmind with it standing. Oops, okay, a cancel depot already for Vindicta. Bit of a weird start.
And he is spawning in the bottom left of Ice and Chrome. Red Terran Vindicta messing up his build. Uh-oh.
Whoopsie poopsie.
Hostile forces detected.
And on top right here, looking to get revenge for the last 2 times they played each other. This is Epic. Storm Gaming.
He did type a, I'm prepared for a 1-2 again in the lobby. I believe in you, Epic. I mean, as I said, I'd like either one of these guys to advance forward, but just for the story, just for the eye of the tiger, we've been building up here for Epic. Kind of want him to win.
How do you feel about this barracks position for Epic? Trying to bamboozle his opponent a little bit.
Clever boy. I'm not 100% sure it'll work, but...
Yeah, I don't think so. And it's one of those things that maybe your opponent gets in there with the SCV and they're like, oh, and then they pull back.
Thank you very much to Pig for that huge raid. Hello, everyone. Thank you to Carl Fishy for the 11 months. Errol Ace 94 for the tier 1 sub. KJ was 500 bits earlier. Make Void as well. Sorry, guys. With co-casting, I sometimes get into a
That's okay.
non-streamer mindset.
It's all right. I do the same thing. Co-casting a bit more on my channel as well, which is offline today. But the important thing for all you guys out there, while we are paying attention to you before this game kicks in, is you need to sub to the grub. I've been seeing, for my liking, far too little subs and resubs today for this broadcast. I'm going to want to see a lot more where that came from, or I'm going to be very disappointed in all of you.
I agree. Looks like Epic's little trick did not work out. It was fully scouted. Vindicta even hiding his SCV to get a full scout on the command center timing. Wants to know if it's going to be that tricky opener 1-1-1 again.
Now, top 4 qualifier, right? Or was it top 8?
Top 4.
Top 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not quite there yet.
Top 8 of Europe. They get more slots.
Ah, extra slots. Fair enough.
They like
Fair enough.
slots.
We do. Yep. We're talking about Vegas slots, of course, not anything else.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Any brief controversy there was like about the amount of qualifier spots was I think it was pretty short-lived.
I mean, yeah. Like if you were trying to argue that NA should have as many slots as Europe, that's you don't have a ton of ammo for that gun. You know what I'm saying? Like there are some arguments, but it's safe to say that it's not just like the player base, but the amount of players that are incredibly good in Europe is much higher. That's just a fact.
Basically, it boils down to the whole chicken and egg argument of like, well, there's no good players because we're not supported, and we're not supported because there's no good players.
That is true, yeah.
So, I know it can be tricky,
this
but
is going really well for Epic, by the way.
It is indeed. Good micro saves that one Reaper. Vindicta is forced to retreat. Epic had a little bit of a bother, I think, with this SCV, but it's actually not doing too much. And Epic, not going for the full-on 1-1-1 build, is still going to be going for something like a little bit aggressive. You see that medevac out, you know they're actually going to try and get out on the other side of the map. With, I mean, kind of an odd little ragtag group of units, but it can still work.
Certainly can. Well, the cycling rallying across the map here was very, very bold. Epic looked like he wanted to go and do something with it, and he's going to come back again. Liberator follow-up for Vindicta. Still no Tech Lab factory unit back at home, but a lovely amount of Hellions.
Yeah. With that many Hellions, you can actually sometimes take on a Cyclone, but you know what? Again, the Concave is pretty good for Epic. The Micro was pretty good with the grenades. Like, that turned it into only 2 Hellions left over. No, it absolutely cannot take on a Cyclone. And that Cyclone is not back at home to defend against the Liberator, and that is certainly a concern, something that Vindicta might be in favor of. Okay, I might have lost my Hellions, but you won't defend my Liberator.
You are doing something right, Captain.
But then there's also the problem of Vindicta's eventual push with the actual medevacs. I don't know when it's going to start, but soon, I suppose.
Is there anything in position here for Epic? Doesn't look like it.
Not so much. Not so much. Here's a full wall that Hellions not going to be able to add. A couple Marines will eventually take care of this, but not nearly as nice as a Interference Matrix, or okay, but the Marines won't do it if they do this. That's not how you defend against Liberator with Marines.
Unfortunately not. Vindicta finding a good kind of punch here, even though he is a little bit behind. We also have still a pressure on his front door. Oh, wow. Line up at SCVs. Yes, please, and thank you. Vindicta still dealing with Epic on his side of the map. That siege tank getting a few shots off at the reactor there, but not getting anything convincing. And that Liberator is still a problem.
Damn, Maynard shoutouts are real. Damn. Thank you very much for the subs. And I get subs, Aerial Ace. But this is still a very action-packed TvT. It's actually really getting close to determining who is going to take a lead. We're actually not quite there yet. Arm supplies, worker count, still very, very similar, but it looks like Epic will maybe finally be cleaned up with the landed Viking. The tanks really have to move forward here in order to take out the rest of the Marines, but Epic has finally cleaned up all the harassment on his side of the map. And seriously, we take a look at who has come out ahead. It seems to be slightly in favor of Epic's position, up for workers, up in army supply. Not enough to truly end the game, I would say, but we'll see what he can do. He still has medevacs, he still has mobility on his side.
He certainly does. Medevacs are a big deal, a big advantage when there aren't many Vikings to worry about. It is something you can continue to abuse. There is a Raven here for Vindicta, mainly for auto turrets though, and he's going across the map with it by the looks of things for some harassment.
No.
Uh-oh.
That's not gonna be worth it. I mean, even if the SCVs aren't pulled away, I think it might be a little more important to have it here defending. We'll see. There's a tank on the high ground and 2 tanks on the low ground, but Epic actually going for the wide curve around the base is not going to be anywhere close to those units. He's going to drop right into the mineral line. It's going to be so awkward for Vindicta to actually push through his own SimCity to defend against that. Oh no. Oh, it's going to be brutal.
Vindicta also has a Viking going for harassment, but obviously the main base is way more important here. Stim's going to get targeted down. Oh boy.
Yeah, auto turret is pulled away from. Viking is going to be dealt with a tank, it looks like, and Epic is doing a lot of damage, reducing the SCV production, reducing the SCV mining down to basically 0. Vikings in the natural can take on a single tank, so they're going to take this very, very seriously. And while the main base was cleaned up without quite grabbing that last tank, oh my god, that was so close. He still has done so much damage. Lots of lost mining time and lost production and lost upgrade timing.
Thank you for appeasing
I think Epic just extended his lead. Not as much as it may have looked. He did lose 9 SCVs, but yeah, I still think he has that faster stim, more SCVs. I give him a little bit of a lead here. It's actually quite bloody.
It is such a bloodbath here, and when the dust settles, you're going to take a second to look at the big picture and see where we're at. Epic is starting his 1-1 upgrades. Vindicta's +1 attack is going to be a fair bit ahead of any upgrades of Epic. So there's a window where his Marines are going to be better, but does he actually have the ability to use those Marines and capitalize on that upgrade? I don't think so. Like, maybe go for a drop, 1 drop. You don't want to throw too much away.
Thank you for becoming a member.
Yeah, I mean, you still want to... Especially, I feel like in these types of games where it's already so action-packed, you don't want to be the first person to stop doing stuff. You feel like they also are, you know, adrenaline's pumping, they're going to be doing stuff to you, and it's better to be active in TvT and constantly looking for openings if you have the APM. I don't, I turtle, but these guys do. So, Epic, I mean, maybe he's going to play defensive, maybe he does deal with all of Vindicta's pressure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's still, you know, room to get more damage done, especially if he thinks he has a stim upgrade lead, right? He knows he killed something quite important with that tech lab, and he would like to take advantage of it, but I don't think he's going to be able to. Like, it's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Still, you know, when you look at it like that, Epic really does seem like he's got the upper hand. Counter drop from Vindicta is heading through the north side of this map, but Epic's drop of 3 medevacs is incredible. If this thing gets in there without Vindicta intercepting, he's going to just take a massive lead, but he's right over some Marines! What were you expecting? I'm sorry, Epic, but that's where you rally your units.
I'm with you, I don't know. I don't think he even saw the tanks roll siege in case he was thinking of dropping on them. I don't think that's the situation. Oh no, the stim upgrade would have led into a combat shield upgrade. Not anymore. This combat is denied. Vindicta's going to find an advantage there as well as he's going to be pulled into this, losing more of their lives. Vindicta was behind in SCVs up until this point, so it has once again just simply evened out. But what a game. Epic, he's not been able to find any more damage, as Vindicta has been, and is now moving forward the rest of his army. So not only is he getting damage done, he is possibly getting into a better position to get even more damage.
Epic's just unloading here. He's kind of got his tail between his legs after being nipped by the other bulldog. He's like, all right. Like, oh god, all right. Let's try not to throw away too many units here. Another drop for the main.
Nothing's here to defend. His production has actually been cut, I think, from lost mining. He doesn't have any tanks. The production is actually just atrocious right now. as far as defending against this. He pulls up all of his army and medevac to try and defend, but it's going to be a bit sloppy. And his third could then be under attack. It's going to be a bit of a trade, maybe favoring Epic a bit, but what about this third base?
Yeah, that's the thing. Vindicta's in two places at once. Jumping between the main and the third is something you can absolutely do on this map, but the way it works, he's losing so many SCVs. Oh man, Epic had the reins of this game. He had this game by the short hairs, but Vindicta is just so good at making these gambles work. He's been doing it time and time again in the series. And Epic, unfortunately, from being super ahead, or not super ahead, but definitely ahead, is on the back foot again.
I mean, it really has been an unstable matchup. The other thing that we haven't really been like focusing too much on is how fast they each had 5 barracks of production. I believe Vindicta had faster 5 barracks. So that is, you know, contributing to some of his ability to make these risky plays with the amount of units he's able to get and reproduce. But now that Epic finally has his, well, 2 of them still don't have reactors. He's still winning on combat shields, but that will finish for the next fight. He needs to start worrying about further pushes. Like, Vindicta is not stopping. He's still upgrading better and faster than Epic as well, as Epic is so desperate to make this work. This tank drop is a little bit awkward, but it's actually going to work out. Vindicta takes out 2 tanks, possibly throw on the high ground. Wow. But the Marine fight actually goes well for Epic, and that is good. Otherwise, he could have been in a lot of trouble. He is holding once again, and you know what? He's kind of sinking the 4th base here. So it's TvT, man. He can still make a comeback.
Yep, and Vindicta doing the same thing. And just to take a second here, to take a breath.
Thank you for becoming a member.
Vindicta is such a psychopath. Who drops right behind a mineral line with 3 tanks on top of it and expects for it to work? Like, what an absolute madman. This guy is probably a mad scientist. He's got his lab coat on, his beakers. He's like pouring different colored beakers to each other. He's like, well, this might explode, but it's fine. I might also discover a new element. What an absolute psycho.
That was crazy. Once again trying to drop there, but it looks like the missile turret took care of it with just a handful of Marines. Epic needs to, he's got to, you know, flashbacks to the last game, man, or the first game, rather. He can't let his army be caught out of position. Without tanks on the front line, it's probably not going to be his concern. Actually, a very smart play here would leave his tank production back at home to defend against Vindicta's tiny little, you know, drops or even the larger drops, right? And then just be mobile with his own Marines. At least that's keeping tabs on his opponent without the risk of any silly base trade or silly doom drop hitting him again.
Yeah, sensor towers are up for Vindicta, and Epic doesn't really have an angle here. You can't even drop the main. There's like an overabundance of sensor towers, even like more than he needs, just because Vindicta's like, all right, I'm ahead. How do I get further ahead? I do it by not getting my main dropped. That's basically what he's saying. I don't want to get a bunch of medevacs unloading a bunch of tanks and Marines on top of my stuff.
Double Liberator harassments on either base. Epic's not prepared for this. No missile turrets whatsoever to help out. Marines are actually busy being on the front lines, trying to do drops, trying to do pushes. And like you said, Vindicta's actually seeing every single drop or push, but the question is he prepared? He actually shifts gears from the main base to the third, but there's Marines there, there's missile turrets there as well. Vindicta is just well defended. What about that 4th, though? A single tank, but a planetary as well, meaning that won't go down very fast, and Vindicta's actually just going through the middle of the map. Nothing was scouting this. Right into the engineering base, right into the naturals. Vindicta, this is such a power move right now. He's probably going to win with it.
I think that is actually the winning move, ZombieGrub. You're absolutely correct, because not only did he deny an upgrade, he has sniped the natural. He's picked up all the SCVs down there, and it's forced Epic's hand. He has to go all in with everything that he has on this side of the map. He's dropping down, but Vindicta seems to have the tank coverage. And Epic is not finding the angle that he needs. Vindicta is going to once again 2-1 Epic for the 3rd time in a row, I feel. He's just got way too big of a lead right now to throw it.
What a harsh series, man. Like, I mean, Epic never really had any, like, I would say throw, right? Like, he's gotten leads, but TvT is complicated. You got to keep in mind the amount of tanks they had, the amount of production they have, the amount of upgrades they have, the combat shield timing. Like, they were never, like, just, oh, he's in such a good lead, he can't lose. But still, he was in positions that he knew he was good in. He just needed to, you know, keep a calm head, reduce the likelihood of harassment like this happening, and he was good to go for a nice macro TvT. And Vindicta just keeps on finding all the holes, as well as filling any holes on his side of the map. Like, this guy just had defense everywhere. Epic couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and he's even, like, just going for advanced ballistics here, potentially, as he gets the fusion core down, knowing that he's in a really good position, but just trying to, you know, dot his I's, cross his T's, and, of course, dotting his lowercase J's. The counter drop here from Epic, but again, there's still turrets. Vindicta has not left anything on the map. He's not rallying across the map or anything like that. He knows that Epic's only real chance of winning is just doing a big counter attack. So Vindicta is preparing accordingly.
If this had 5 tanks as well, I would actually be a big fan of this Doom drop. But with only Marines, and unupgraded Marines, by the way, you never get the +2 attack. Vindicta can go up through a choke and still take care of this. No medevacs even to help out. Doesn't actually matter. He's still going to take care of this. And Epic, I mean, he's buying some time, and if he was still on 4 bases, I'd be like, this is important. This is great. This is comeback potential. But he doesn't have 4 bases. He's down in Orbital, only on 3 mining bases, still only at 50 SCVs. And the upgrades are becoming ever more important. Another drop on top of these tanks will be a nice one,
Yep.
but is it really going to make up for the supply and the upgrades?
Well, that's the thing, is that Epic is throwing away units that he can't really afford to lose at the moment. And Vindicta is just continuing to get further and further ahead with a massive worker lead, 21 worker advantage. Not only that, but just having the base advantage. Epic has not retaken his natural. He's only mining from 3 bases against 4 here, with Vindicta about to take a 5th.
Oh, Epic's looking for a big ol' surrounds, but Vindicta has moved most, if not all, of his army here, so I don't think it's going to work out, especially with the upgrades looking as bad as they do. Epic is getting back to his upgrades, and he could even transfer his main to the natural to have somewhat decent mining again. The relentless pressure has at least given him time to feel like he is in control again, and I'd like huge kudos for that.
He has been showing us in every single series that he really is a believer, and he's a hard worker. Like, he wants this qualifier, and I fully respect that. I'm a big fan of Epic. If I wasn't already, the series would have turned me into one. Hopefully that's the same case for all you guys watching from home. This is an absolutely great showing from Epic. And Vindicta, make no mistake, we've been talking like the game is over because it kind of is. Vindicta would have to throw away everything that you see on the screen right now for Epic to win this game.
Okay, well that's all that hype for naught as the main fight happens in the middle of the map, and it is just disastrous.
Yep.
That is, that's going to be game-ending indeed. Unless there was like 7 tanks to hold a single position. And even then, Vindicta just moves away from the 7 tanks. There's 4 of them, and Vindicta does have very weak units right now, but Epic is now lost all that momentum, all that pressure he was applying to his opponent. Just a single Liberator doing some decent damage, but now have to make up for what he's, his current situation.
Yeah, I mean, if the Liberator gets another 40 SCVs. I'm just kidding. You're absolutely right. This counterattack of Vindicta doesn't look like Epic can stop it. There is a planetary here, of course, but that is, 10 tanks?
God, like 16 in total, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, just gonna have the planetary. There's not much you can do about that. Even if you tried to sneak in Liberators, there are already Vikings here. I think he also scouted. Has he scouted that 5th base? Yeah, he did. So Epic really just knows how much of a terrible position he's in, but it's single elimination. He doesn't want to give up. But I think he will have to be looking more towards the final qualifier on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, Jon Snow and his team making that these 2 Sidestorm guys have to try again in the 3rd one. Hopefully they don't meet each other in the bracket. We'd like to see both Sidestorm guys get in. As Vindicta is just collapsing with way too much firepower for Epic to handle. And Epic has been fighting like an absolute champion. But once again, Vindicta is going to get that 2-1 victory. And that's the 3rd time in a row. 2nd qualifier in a row. This Vindicta kid. He's got to win 1 more series, and then he'll qualify.
Yes, which I believe in him, but who is he facing?
It will be the winner of Bio Ice, Panda Bear, me. I actually feel like Vindicta is favored against whoever wins that series.
Me too. I actually think it's got it. It is going to be Panda Bear, me.
Yep.
So
I actually, I like Vindicta and Epic was quite close, but I feel like